On second down. Taylor to his left. And he's on target. Billy Hess. Marcelo Simmons on the tackle as Taylor is 1 for 1.
You know, we talked to John Payne about who was going to be a starting quarterback, and he had said to everybody that it was going to be David Archer, but he throws a wrinkle in it right off the bat for Don Matthews and puts his scrambling quarterback in there. So Steve Taylor has talked about wanting to play all week, gets his chance to start. And I tell you what, that was the best kept secret in the CFL right there, who the starting quarterback was going to be.
Ottawa first down, and this is Greer. Profile Greer, averaging 5.9 yards a carry, grabs a couple.
Well, Steve Taylor's going to have to face a tough Argo defense. Tim Cofield leads the way up front. Alex Gordon is out. Oscar Giles, a late addition to that front seven. Reggie Gibbons is in the middle in the linebacking core. Defensive backs, Adrian Smith and Don Smith on the corners. Courtney Griffin, Marcelo Simmons at the halfbacks, and Dan Murphy starts at safety.
Second down, Ottawa after a gain of 4. Taylor just missed. Looking for Joseph Rogers, and there's a marker on the far side.
Well, Steve Taylor is going to give the Argo defense a completely different look that they have scouted for all week. I mean, this guy's the scrambler. He's going to get outside the pocket.
Offside. 94. Trotter number 94. Repeat second down.
You know, and you get defensively, you start game planning for one style of quarterback, and believe me, these two quarterbacks are completely different in their styles. There's David Archer, the drop back guy. He's always in the pocket. Argo scouted for him all week and now face this man is Steve Taylor.
Hinchcliffe to the near side. It is 2nd and 1 Ottawa. Greer slowed initially, but he'll have it up for the first down inside the Toronto 40.
What a super job Profile Greer did last week in Winnipeg. Had a great game. Over 100 yards rushing. You see his numbers last week, and 1 touchdown. Thing that amazed me about him, he's a little guy. He's 5'8", 190 pounds, and he got up after every tackle in Winnipeg limping, and then got that ball and hit the hole like Corey Philpott does it.
Riders continue the drive with a first down at the Argonaut 41. Taylor from the shotgun. Likes to run. Got 1 block, and he's about halfway to a first down. Gibbons over to make the tackle, number 38 from his middle linebacking spot.
Steve Taylor, I mean, right now the Argo defense got to be shaking their head. I mean, they thought they were going to just pass rush straight up the field. Now they got to start thinking contain, because Steve Taylor, every chance he gets, is going to head out to the outside, break containment, and then look downfield for his receiver.
Decent start for Taylor. 6 plays to cover 32 yards. Second down here. Greer right side, ran into one of his own blockers. It comes up short. It was Benson making the tackle, number 37 for Toronto. Fans want the Riders to go for 3rd and a long yard.
It is a long yard, but they're in the territory where it's not quite as big of a gamble to send in your short yardage unit, which John Payne is doing right now. In comes Jeff Cummins and Swift Birch. Now those two guys come in on short yardage situations for a little bit of extra meat up front, so they're going to take a gamble early in the football game.
And if you've won 1 game in 7 tries, you might as well gamble here early at home. Sean Daniels, and I'm not sure he made it.
That's close. It's going to be very close.
Very close.
To me, where they spot the ball, Sean Daniels sort of stutter stepped before he hit the line of scrimmage, and it might. Well, there you go.
Did not make it. Reggie Gibbons got in the way that time. Number 38.
Sean Daniels just kind of stutter stepped before he hit the line of scrimmage. I mean, if he just hits it up in there, he's heavy enough to push anybody back. But you'll see a little bit of a stutter step. Right here, he kind of stutters. That pause gives Reggie Gibbons a chance to flow to the football and hold him short.
So the Argos are 1st and 10 beginning at the 32. Glutie, shotgun. Time, and he floats it over the middle for Robert Drummond. That'll be a first down and more. Dwayne Knight, number 44, made the tackle. Glutie has been the biggest reason for Toronto's 6 wins in 7 games. He has completed an amazing 67% of his passes so far in 1996. He has loads of targets with Masadi and Cunningham outside, Tyrone Williams and Jeff Fairholm at the slot back spots, and Robert Drummond and Mike Clemens ready to run and receive out of the backfield. This is Drummond again, and he's out to midfield. Melvin Aldridge and Ken Wilhite making the stop.
Well, it seems like everyone is surprised about Robert Drummond except Don Matthews, head coach of the Argos, and this offense led by Doug Glutie. I mean, Drummond was behind Mike Pringle in Baltimore for a lot of years. Matthews knew what kind of ability he had. So does Doug Glutie, and you can see how often Glutie likes to use him.
Argos quickly out to midfield. Second and short, and that should be enough. Drummond again. And Dwayne Knight, number 44, put the stop on Robert Drummond that time.
And Dwayne Knight's been having a pretty good season for the Ottawa Rough Riders. He's right now tied for 5th in the CFL in special teams tackles, and is really becoming a great linebacker. A lot of people have actually compared him to K.D. Williams over there in Winnipeg. Says he has the same kind of ability and speed.
Another Argo first down. Glutie fires quickly far side. He has Tyrone Williams who breaks the tackle. Ken Wilhite couldn't hang on. Finally forced out by Tommy Henry. The gain is 13, but a marker is on the turf here and lands down.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Ottawa number 29. Decline. First down.
Defensive for the Argos, Swift Birch and Jeff Cummins, the former Argos. Junior Takoya replaces Lloyd Lewis up front. Tommy Henry and Leonard Humphreys are at the corners.
Glutie himself, and he's wrapped up by Jeff Cummins, the former Argo you were talking about.
Take it easy. When do I get off here, all right? No, he's standing over me.
Third sack of the season for Cummins.
Well, it was basically a quarterback draw from Doug Glutie, but it counts as a sack for Jeff Cummins because he catches him behind the line of scrimmage. Quarterback has the ball in his hands, and that goes in the stats for Cummins as a sack.
Loss of 5, second and 15. For Glutie and the Argos, pushed back to the the Ottawa 43. Glutie standing in, look for Masadi. And his hands on it, couldn't bring it down.
Some sort of mix-up from Doug Glutie and his pass receivers Masadi and Tyrone Williams, because they were both standing right beside each other. Don Matthews going to have to get with them on the sideline because both receivers are about 4 yards apart, and every pattern that you run, there's going to be separation between receivers. You see them both right there in the same shot. The reason that is because if you're both in the same spot, it only takes one defensive back to cover you both.
Mike Vanderjagt in for Toronto, hitting on 73% of his field goal attempts so far. This from 50 yards away, his longest on the season, 51. So Glutie will spot it right on the 50. A little short this time, bouncing near the 3. Wilhite tries to claim it there and draws 2 penalty markers near the 7. Argos all over the place. The Ottawa Rough Riders get the ball back when we return.
Play Safeway's Touchdown to Win. There's a prize for every touchdown and interception during TSN telecast. Prizes like a Daewoo 27-inch stereo TV, a Uniden cordless phone and answering system, a Dirt Devil Ultra handbag and cordless broom bag, or a packing case from Skyway Luggage. Or win a trip for 2 to Puerto Vallarta, courtesy of Canadian Holidays, Canada's largest vacation company. Safeway feature products, Minute Rice, Cottonelle bathroom tissue. Touchdown to Win at Safeway, today's better way.
This summer, TSN and Subway want you to put the bite on us to win. Win one of 6 weekly baseball or football prize packs, and all correct entries will qualify to win a grand prize trip to 2 World Series games or a trip to this year's Grey Cup game. Get an entry at participating Subway stores, then tune in and look for the Subway Bite during TSN baseball and CFL broadcasts, and mail in each week for a chance to win.
I'm Jim McKay with an update from the 2020 Global Games. Graduated hurdles rose, but Great Britain fell. Nathan Rudder grabbed the ring and the gold for the U.S. Earlier today, Caswell Fowler executed the first perfect 10 multiple board dive.
The world of sports is ever evolving, but athletes of today can choose All Sports Body Quencher for fluid replacement, unsurpassed taste, thirst-quenching flavors.
Coming up later, the record-breaking 300-meter dolphin relay.
Argos were a little too close in punt coverage, and that'll give Ottawa a little better field position.
Well, that's right, John. It doesn't matter if it's a missed field goal or a punt. You have to give 5 yards. 5 yards was not obviously given there, and Will Height draws a penalty, but that takes a pretty good hit from middle linebacker Reggie Gibbons.
Obviously on the missed field goal by Vanderjack from 50 yards out. Taylor takes over for Ottawa. This is Profale Greer. Oscar Giles drawing into the lineup as a starter with Alex Gordon on the sideline. We expected Archer to begin this one tonight, but he has a series of injuries. A leg, a bad hip, a groin, and a thigh. The throwing arm is all right.
But that's the only thing.
That's
so
about the only thing that's
I guess
really
John,
right. But we were expecting him to be the starter.
Well, I mean, we talked to him about his injuries. He said, yeah, I'm a little bruised and banged up, but I can still go and I will be starting. And John Payne fooled us all, including the Argos, when he starts Steve Taylor.
2nd and 7, markers are down. Taylor looks deep for Hess. And almost, but tight coverage. Courtney Griffin was back and got an arm in the way.
Well, the fans wanted a pass interference call. They won't get that. They won't get that, but they will get an offside call.
Offside. Toronto number 13. Repeat 2nd down.
Greg Eaglin was coming on a blitz from the linebacker position, and he gets linebacker position on the blitz, and Greg Eaglin will give Ottawa another shot at this.
At the 29-yard line, it'll be 2nd and 2. No scoring so far, with 6 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Steve Taylor. Man open far side. And Gordon will have the first down. Robert Gordon. Adrian Smith was on the coverage that time. The gain is 7 yards.
Robert Gordon.
For Robert Gordon.
You know, he's having a pretty good season. I mean, he comes into the game tonight, 341 yards and a touchdown, and you know, when he's a veteran guy. He's been in the league 6 years. He had a tough drop in Winnipeg, and it was a 2nd and long situation. Dropped the ball when the Ottawa Rough Riders were trying to come back, so you know he's going to want to make amends tonight.
Now out at the 35, 1st down Ottawa. This is Greer off the left side, broke one. Escape.
I'll tell you what,
and that was a great tackle.
Ken Benson makes a tackle, or Profale Greer is still running. I mean, now he was the only guy between him and the goal line. Perfect counter play. Ken Benson, the last guy to try and get him, coming back across from the middle of the field, and he just gets his hand on him. He's right in the middle of your screen, number 37, and watch him flow on the counter. And Profale Greer, he goes the wrong way at first, and then watch him get back there with some great quickness and get that tackle. And look, there is no other white jerseys going to catch Greer.
2nd and a bunch. Taylor running for his life. Got one block and got another. He'll get the first down. And a big collision out of bounds.
What a hit by Andre Volek as he was coming back to help out his quarterback, number 87. Steve Taylor took on. He's got great speed to the outside. Tim Cofield, one of the best in the leagues in rushing the quarterback, working right there on Chris Burns, and now it's a foot race. Cofield's pretty quick. I mean, he chases down a lot of quarterbacks, but I don't think he's going to have a chance to get you, Steve Taylor. I mean, I'd take Steve Taylor in that one any day.
A gain of 10, first down Ottawa. Out at the Rough Rider 50 now. Profile Greer tried to go underneath Andrew Stewart. No doubt that time that Stewart was the dominant player, number 73.
Signed as a free agent coming over from the BC Lions. With the Lions last year, he had 5 sacks. And real solid force in the middle. Guy that you got to respect. You got to double team him. He gets good push, moves the line of scrimmage back into your backfield. I mean, look at the size of the guy.
He created a 1-yard loss on that play.
Fills out the whole TV screen. And I know a lot of people at home have big screens.
You're right about that. Here's Robert Gordon near side on 2nd and 11. Beats on Taylor. Going on the run. And I think that was a one-hopper. Boldrick.
Well, the Argos certainly think so. You know,
the Argos are saying no catch, but I haven't seen the officials rule on
the
this.
Officials
going to catch.
Officials
are 14 yards.
They're marking the ball, John. They're moving it up. I was awfully close. Well, it was hard to see from the angle that I had. I mean, I agree with you. It looked like it kind of came off the turf, but it depends on whether or not Andre Bullock had his hands down on the turf and it hit his hands and bounced up. Officials obviously saw it that way.
Big first down Ottawa. Now at the Argonaut 46-yard line. Wind is picking up. Taylor is picked up. Donald Smith on the return. He's got room to the far side and slowed near the 50. Finally rolled out of bounds. So an Ottawa drive ends in an interception. Still no score.
In the future, Jack, Canadians will call this crushing a party. Amanda.
Jacques, are you mad? Father's right there.
You must be Lucy.
Jacques tells me you see the future. Telephones, snowmobiles, true Canadian lager.
What? Guards! Unhand my daughter! Every party has a pooper. Brought to you by the Bad Blue, true Canadian lager.
Kids. Darn kids. Darn kids. Darn kids. Kids. Darn kids. Darn grown-ups.
Thank you for making McDonald's Arch Deluxe the country's favorite new burger.
I don't know what that is.
But please, keep Canada beautiful.
The diamond engagement ring. How else could 2 months' salary last forever?
Donald Smith has his 2nd interception of the season for the Argos.
How you doing, baby?
One turnover on downs and this interception.
Well, he's playing the bump and run coverage, and watch him cut right underneath when he sees that ball come, and look at the closing speed. He got to the ball before Andre Bullock did and takes it the other way, 2nd of the year.
That sets the Argos up at the Rough Rider 42. Flutie. And living back there as he spins and fires. Basadi was the intended receiver. Couldn't come down with it. Tommy Henry was covering on Basadi that time.
Well, Tommy Henry has 4 interceptions. He actually intercepted that ball, and it's a pretty good secondary. Leonard Humphreys at the other corner. Joe Merrow and Kenny Wilhite, who had a big interception against Winnipeg and took it back over 70 yards, and Jason Jakovic is a safety. Tommy Henry almost had his 5th interception there.
Just a little out of bounds.
He was just a couple of yards out of bounds, but he did catch it.
2nd and 10 now for Flutie and the Argos. Fairholm makes the catch and runs for the first down. Aldridge made the tackle, number 29, after a 13-yard gain for Fairholm, who missed last week's game with a bad back.
Yeah, and I talked to Don Matthews about the condition of Jeff Fairholm. He says loves to have him in the lineup because he spreads things out, and because of his speed, he opens things up for other receivers. But he said because of his back problems, he's going to be used sparingly, and in fact, he may switch in and out all year with Mike Morreale.
First down, Toronto. Glutie over the middle. Fairholm has it, and he's down to the 1-yard line. Kukovitz over to make the touchdown-saving tackle after a 27-yard play. Glutie to Fairholm.
Jeff Fairholm's made a living on this play. It comes down the seam and gets inside position on Kenny Wilhite, and once you do that, you just got to throw it right in front of him like Doug Glutie does there, and as a defensive back, boy, you just can't get there.
Argos get 3 cracks at it from the Ottawa 1. No score so far with 1:26 to go in the first quarter in Ottawa. Pinball Clemens has the touchdown from 1 yard out. Simple little straight-ahead play, and that's Clemens' second rushing touchdown of the season.
And Don Matthews used a little bit of misdirection of his own there. I mean, when you get down to the goal line, you're going to think your bigger running back and Robert Drummond's going to get the football. Drummond also has 5 touchdowns coming in, but instead, switch it up and give it to little Mike Clemens down the goal line. You know he's going to give you the effort to get it in there, and has enough effort to score the points that time.
Vanderjagt will add to the Toronto lead, and that makes it 7-0. Argos score on their second possession at Frank Clair Stadium tonight. Glutie to the pinball. It is.
Everybody has questions. Can a bag help?
The definition of a mother, your mom. The definition of one tough mother, every CFL player. When it comes to football, there's only one way to play it. The right way. Our way. Radically Canadian. The Canadian Football League. It's our game. It's longer, wider, faster, and more exciting. Every game is an event, a party. Canadian football has been a tradition for over 105 years, and it's still kicking. The CFL. Now you too can be a radical Canadian by wearing radical hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and golf shirts, all from Starter Canada. Get radical from only $19.99. Call 1-800-545-5757. These items are not available in any store. The only way you can get radical is to call now. Dare to be different. Get radical. Be Canadian. The Canadian Football League, it's radically Canadian. Call 1-800-545-5757 now.
Mike Pinball Clemens has touched the ball once and scored a 1-yard touchdown. Perfect night. So far, 4 plays, 42 yards, the drive, and Clemens finished it off with the rush. Really set up in a couple of nice catches by Jeff Fairholm. Wilhite, beginning for Ottawa, is 19. Into a maze, somehow he found his way to the 35. Second rushing touchdown of the year for Mike.
Yeah, he actually... Oh, all my friends in Barrie, how you doing out there? Hey, we're going to bring this one home. Starting out slow, we're going to bring it home.
I just wanted to let Pinball have his, his public service announcement and save the money on the long-distance phone calls. But he was used a lot more in their last game, Toronto Argos, and was rushing the ball about 3 times a game heading into that game, and then last week had around 9 carries, so more and more involved. It's hard to keep a guy like that out of the offense.
Andre Bolduc splits to the far side of the field with Robert Gordon to the near side on first down. Ottawa. Profale Greer tough running inside against the big group from the Argonauts. Stewart is in there and Giles.
Boy, it really was. I mean, that was some collision between Profale Greer and Don Wilson. Donnie Wilson's that in-between linebacker and defensive back, and he only weighs 195 pounds. Now, Profil Greer's not a big guy, but they just hit solidly, and Don Wilson's going to rest the play.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. At the Ottawa 38. Play action fake by Taylor over the middle, and Ellingson makes the catch at the 55. Courtney Griffin, number 26, made the tackle after a 16-yard gain. And that wraps up quarter number 1 with the Argos on top by a touchdown as we send you back to football control in Toronto.
CFL live at the quarter. Brought to you by Subway. Try Subway's great tasting classic Italian BMT.
Boy, the Ottawa Rough Riders and John Payne with their first play of the game, the old quarterback sneak. David Archer, we anticipated him getting the start, but he's out. Steve Taylor takes his place.
Well, you know what, Darren, I was listening to some of the rumblings around the CFL all week, and there was some talk that riders, in order to save $750,000, were preparing to release David Archer. Now, we dismiss that because this is their marquee player and it's their franchise player, but maybe now, unless Archer is really banged up, maybe there's some merit to this.
No, I don't think that's the case right now. I think Archer is banged up. In that last game against Winnipeg, it looked like he was, hurt. Remember, at the end of the game, we commented about it. And I think the only thing, I hate to second guess Coach Payne, but they made a good drive in that opening drive. They got into scoring position on the 32-yard line. He goes for a 3rd and a good 1.5 yards. When you're playing against a good football team and you got a chance to get points on the board, that would have given Ottawa a big lift, given them some momentum, showing that they could score on that Toronto team. And I really think they made a mistake going for that.
What do you mean you hate to second guess? This is the beauty of being able to sit here and do that now. We'll be relaxed. I mean, have some fun with it. But, if you look at Toronto in that first quarter, they've moved to +4 now in the takeaway, giveaway category. They took advantage of the turnover with the touchdown of their own. I mean, everything's just falling into place nicely the way they expect.
And Jeff Fairholm, we haven't seen much of him all season long, but he's catching some balls in this first quarter of play. Well, we're set for the second quarter. Let's return to Lansdowne Park and Frank Clair Stadium. Gentlemen?
And just the stats, Darren, from the opening quarter, it's a little deceiving there. 2 turnovers against Ottawa. Time of possession favors the Rough Riders, but Glutie has them on the scoreboard. That is the Argos.
The Ottawa Rough Riders are actually moving the ball quite nicely. They're moving the ball down the field. Steve Taylor's throwing some nice passes, but those 2 turnovers are telling, because I'll tell you what, just like when you play the Calgary Stampeders, you cannot make mistakes against good football teams and have success. So Ottawa has to eliminate those turnovers.
Here's Taylor with time, looking deep. Gordon is all alone. Fans here and the quarterback on the sideline.
Well, first thing, this play starts out with great protection up front. Steve Taylor has enough time to look down the middle and look on safety Dan Murphy. He was in the middle of the field and jumped up into the short crossing pattern. That left Robert Gordon all alone on the post pattern behind him. Marcelo Simmons had no shot.
Couldn't get it away. The convert. Taylor running for his life and short-hopped it. Short-hopped it to Daniels. Charge to Mako. Finally ran Taylor down. Convert is no good. And that's the way things go in Ottawa. They come up a point shy.
Play Safeway's Touchdown to Win. If your name appears below, you may have won a TriStar packing case by Skyway Luggage with practical features and modern-day innovations for today's experienced traveler. Skyway Luggage, quality and durability for over 85 years. Or Minolta Compact Zoom Binoculars, a convenient zoom lever lets you locate a subject at low power, then examine it in detail. Minolta high performance at an economical price. Touchdown to Win ballots, available exclusively at all participating Safeway stores.
It's 6 past the hour at the end of another busy Friday.
As the moment approaches, Eat More promises rich, dark toffee, loaded with peanuts. That's not too sweet tasting. When the moment arrives, Eat More promises to take a good, long while. Chew and eat more. Stretch the moment. It's a real, long chew.
Robert Gordon dropped a key pass last week. I wonder what he was thinking when he was in behind all the cover here and just waiting for the pass to land.
John,
his mitts.
It's one of the toughest balls to catch, believe it or not, when you have all the time in the world. You know you're wide open. No, there's no one around. All you got to do is concentrate, cradle it in there.
Ball into the end zone.
Tell you what, Robert Gordon makes amends right there from last week's drop against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And then you look at the convert attempt, and Steve Taylor's the holder. Now, he just threw a touchdown pass, had to run all the way down to congratulate his receiver, Robert Gordon. I think he was a little tired. Wasn't concentrating on the pin because the snap was there. He just dropped it.
The Ottawa kickoff. Lasani and Clemens are deep. It goes to Clemens. Actually, that was Cunningham on the reverse to Clemens, and he's clotheslined on the far side. No markers down. So Gordon celebrating his second touchdown of the season on the sidelines. 3 plays to cover 75 yards and a 55-yard touchdown toss from Taylor to Gordon.
He was the safety. He didn't block. And you hear John Payne there quickly talking about the safety. The safety wasn't there when Robert Gordon ran the post pattern. I'll tell you that.
Third possession for the Argos. Glutie standing at his 37. Missed Williams, and it's picked up. Here's Henry. He's in. Gone. Back-to-back touchdowns. No markers, folks. A 54-yard interception return. Tommy Henry. They're all exhausted.
Well, wasn't anything fancy about the pattern, just crossing routes, and you see Glutie trying to go out there to Tyrone Williams. The ball goes off his hands, then off Jimmy Cunningham's hands and into the hands of Tommy Henry. And once he has it, he takes off and goes around the corner. Mike Kiselak's not going to catch him. Big touchdown for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Almost a clip there. It wasn't, but it was close. Lamley hammers this one through. So the Rough Riders have scored back-to-back touchdowns. Here's Tommy Henry in the end zone.
Music looks like a lot of fun when you're playing, and it is. It's a business, though. You've got to make ends meet. I make 500-600 calls a month. The Advantage program is definitely something that's come into play in a big way. When you're out on the road, you're working 24 hours a day. Checking back with the office, the voicemail. The discounts for me have come in around 30%. It's a sizable chunk of money. It's a long, slow process to an overnight success.
Advantage, providing solutions for business.
Get your entry form at a participating Subway store and tune in again to win.
Great football. Great software. Join the winning team. It's unbeatable.
Tide her up, Bobby.
Chilling. Bobby. Unforgettable.
What do you want from me?
De Niro, Snipes, The Fan. At theaters Friday.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you in part by Diet Pepsi. Diet Pepsi has no diet aftertaste. And by the Alliance of Canada's only full-service telecommunications companies, proud sponsors of the Canadian Olympic team.
After the touchdown, pinball on the return for Toronto. He's got a good one going out across midfield and inside Ottawa territory near the 50. Frank West on the tackle. A better crowd on hand here tonight. 32-yard return for the pinball.
Riders, baby!
A little something to cheer about, but don't forget, these are the Argos, and the guys in black are the Rough Riders. So the lead right now, nice to see for the hometown fans, but
thanks to Tommy Henry, the big interception on the three-way deflection. You work on the tip drill all the time. Every day in practice, work on that tip drill where you tip it up in the air and try and pick it off, and Tommy Henry did it right there and took it in.
The way things were going for Ottawa, it looked like that ball might end up in another Toronto receiver's mitts after it went off Tyrone Williams. Cunningham was in the area, had a shot at it. But the interception made by Henry, he took it 54 yards for the touchdown. And Hinchcliffe is the injured Ottawa Rough Rider heading to the sidelines.
Doug Glutie, you know, once he throws an interception, he's got to get involved in the tackle. Now, he just dumps it out there now trying to see. He's jumping over the lineman to see what's going on. And look at Swift Birch. He's not going to let his quarterback get in on the tackle. That was a clean block and a little bit of a mismatch in size.
Toronto at the Ottawa 48. Robert Drummond reverses and can't find a way out. The new guy, Junior Tagoya, number 91 on the tackle.
He's like a fire hydrant. He's 6 foot, about 300 pounds, and John Payne likes his pass rush abilities, likes the way he gets after the quarterback. You see Jeff Cummins starting. He sees and flows to the play of Robert Drummond, and there's Tagoya right up inside. Tagoya takes the first shot of him, as does Cummins. They both go to the ground. Tagoya keeps hustling and ends up coming up with the tackle 91 right there at the bottom of that pile.
Right on the line of scrimmage, no gain. 2nd and 10. Toronto, Glutie, shotgun. With time, Morale.
Oh, man.
Morale makes a great catch. Holding on near the 31. 18 yards.
Well, he had 7 catches for 150 yards coming into this football game, and I'm sure none of them were any tougher than this one right here. He has to go back across his body, turn completely around as he dives across the middle of the field. You know you're going to get hit in there. Mike Morale comes up with a big catch.
Argos set up at the Ottawa 31.
Second-round pick of the Lions, and he signed as a free agent with Toronto, and they're happy to have him.
Glutie, a load of time again, and another open receiver. It's the pinball down inside the 25.
Ottawa's playing a lot of zone defense off the beginning, at the beginning of this football game. Clemens just finds a hole in the zone, settles down, and lets Glutie throw it in there.
9 yards for the pinball. It'll be 2nd and 1.
How many catches Mike Clemens is projected to have over the course of this season? He's the guy that they like to put outside. Doug Glutie does not like 2 backs in the backfield very often, so Clemens will be that extra receiver.
3 receivers to the far side of the field, and Drummond on 2nd and 1 will have the first down. No markers anywhere. Drummond averages 7 yards per carry.
And he's got the hard yards up in there and get all those running plays that go off tackle and up the middle. That's will be Robert Drummond's job for the most part. Mike Clemens will be that 5th receiver. You see his numbers so far in 1996. 4th in the league in the CFL in rushing.
Ottawa on top by 6. As Glutie goes under the cover, finding Drummond, he's inside the 10. Like a surgeon out there, precision passing.
Doug Glutie calls all his own plays, and in fact, he gets in there and during the week designs a lot of them himself with the help of Adam Rita and Don Matthews, but he has complete control of the offense, knows exactly what he wants, and that was the matchup he was looking for with Robert Drummond working on Melvin Aldridge.
14-yard gain setting Toronto up at the Ottawa 7. And Glutie's made it look easy getting this close to the goal line. Three receivers to each side. Glutie, end zone toss, and Williams has the touchdown. Tyrone Williams.
Well, Doug Glutie had no backs in the backfield on that play. Spread his whole offense out. Drummond was to one side, Mike Clements to the other. Spread that defense of the Ottawa Rough Riders out. He knew he'd get man-to-man or a blitz situation. They show it, Ottawa does, and drop out of it, but Tyrone Williams gets in behind the coverage. Melvin Aldridge, again the victim, pulls that one in just before he goes off the deadline at the back.
No catches last week for Williams. Touchdown catch in Ottawa. Tonight, Vanderjack has the Argonauts in the lead once more. It's a one-point ball game.
It's time to pick a face.
Like Mike, meet the ultimate fighting machine. If you've seen him in action, you're already dead. Mario Van Peebles is Solo. At theaters Friday, August 23rd.
The definition of gray. The boring midtones found between black and white. The definition of the Grey Cup. The Great Canadian Party. It's time to stand up and get passionate about your country, its traditions, its future. One of these great traditions is football played the way it was meant to be. Radically Canadian. The Canadian Football League. It's hard-hitting. It's longer, wider, faster football. Every game is an event, a party. More importantly, it's our game and we won't change it for anyone. The CFL. Radically Canadian and proud of it. Now you too can be a radical Canadian by wearing radical hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and golf shirts, all from Starter Canada. Get radical from only $19.99. Call 1-800-545-5757. These items aren't available in any store. The only way you can get radical is to call now. Dare to be different. Get radical. Be Canadian. The Canadian Football League. It's radically Canadian. Call 1-800-545-5757 now.
The hottest stocks around negotiate their way through the banks of Michigan. NASCAR roars onto the Michigan International Speedway for the GM Goodwrench Dealer 400, Sunday on TSN.
Toronto's number 81, Tyrone Williams, has his 6th touchdown catch of the season. And there's the scoring drive, 6 plays to cover 48 yards. Glutie to Williams, who's 7 yards away. Argos back on top.
In fact, the coaching staff about Tyrone Williams, they say he could potentially be a great one in the league. Good size, good speed, and excellent hands.
Here's Gordon out across the 25, surrounded and down right there. Mark Bunting joins us on our CFL telecast from Ottawa tonight, and he's over on the midway.
Guys, I want to show you something I just gave birth to here. Actually, it feels like a big scarf. It might be good in the wintertime. It's a big snake, obviously. It's an albino. This is Dan here, and tell us about the snake. What can you tell us?
Well, this is Chrissy. She's a 4-year-old albino Burmese python. She was born in captivity and has been handled all her life.
I feel like Johnny Carson. And how old is she?
4 years old. She's closing in on 100 pounds and about 14 feet.
You know what, Dan? This looks very similar to the thing that came out of my toilet last week.
I swear.
All right, back to you.
You couldn't get me to do that.
Now, we were on the midway. I didn't see that snake.
No.
It's a good thing.
And I'm not going back to the midway now. The snake is there. Billy Hess makes the catch on first down, Ottawa. Riders were forced back near the 10-yard line after a blocking infraction on the return, 12 yards.
Bill Hess was a possession receiver in San Antonio last year with David Archer. Right now, he's pretty much on track to get the same numbers he did. Last year, he had 750 yards receiving, and this year, if you look at his projections over the season, he should be around the same exact numbers, around 750 yards. Possession guy, finds the hole in the zone, and real smart receiver.
Steve Taylor at the controls for Ottawa tonight. Won't get this one away. Cofield. 5 sacks coming in, and 1 more to his total.
Well, the most important block you have as an offensive lineman is when you're on the backside of the play. And right here, Chris Burns is on the backside. He's got to work on one of the best in the league in Tim Cofield, but he also has to know that his quarterback has his back turned to the play. And here comes Cofield. You have to hold that block a little longer when you're on the backside.
Big time loss, 2nd and 19.
Sorry, Wood.
Line of scrimmage moves back to the Ottawa 20. Taylor stands in, looks deep, looking for Hess. Missed him by 5 yards. Smith was with him stride for stride. That's Donald Smith.
And you know what? That's not a bad thought by Steve Taylor. A lot of times so far this season, the Ottawa Rough Riders haven't stretched the defense. He went deep there on Don Smith, and you know what that does? It puts a thought in their mind from a defensive point of view that this guy will throw the ball deep. He's already hit Robert Gordon for a deep touchdown on the post pattern, and that'll only pay dividends later in the football game when those defensive backs back up a little bit to respect the deep ball. Opens up some of those shorter zones.
Cunningham, the lone man back for Toronto. Lamley standing near his 7-yard line. Argos will come away with good field position. Near the 50 as Cunningham begins. And he turns it on. Can't quite get around the corner. Jacobitz, number 20. Got to him from behind. 0 return after a 39-yard punt, and it's Glutie's turn again.
You know, when Doug Glutie is control of the offense, he's got to make sure that all his receivers are happy in that offense, and you can see how Doug Glutie makes a star of each and every one of them.
He's really spread it around, hasn't he? Star of the week. If you look through that list, I wonder whose turn it is tonight. See if there's an order to that or something.
Tyrone Williams has one so far, so he's probably going to look to somewhere else for this one.
And Tyrone didn't have a big week last week. Drummond for a couple. Ray Bernard was there, so was Dwayne Knight.
As a matter of fact, John, just to talk a little bit more about that point, Tyrone Williams didn't have a catch last week, so he's got one tonight for a touchdown. Big Ray Bernard back in the middle of the lineup for the Ottawa Rough Riders, having a real good season, and he's going to try and want to try and take that guy's head off Tyrone Williams if he comes into the middle.
Gosh, there was a pigeon running right on the monitor here. He was here the last time we were here. Glutie. Now he'll fire and can't come up with Jeff Fairholm.
Well, Melvin Aldridge makes a great knockdown play on it because he was victimized by the Tyrone Williams touchdown, limping a little bit as he leaves the field, but he had to cover for a long time. You see all the time that Doug Glutie can buy for himself with his great scrambling ability, still looking downfield, playing that sandlot type of football, finally finds Fairholm, but Melvin Aldridge comes across and bats that ball away.
Gordon is deep for Ottawa. Back near the 12 with Vanderjagt. Standing at his 35. Winds are picking up a little bit in Ottawa. Vanderjagt gets a lot of air under this. Gordon. Decent return. Dragged down by Namako at the 35. 13 yards.
Well, John, next time we'd ride the bumper cars at the beginning of a game, I'm driving.
Oh. Last 4 times that the Rough Riders have been home when the exhibition opened, they've won a couple and lost a couple. Last time they played Toronto was back in '90, and Ottawa got bombed that night, 42-25.
Well, I hope they can break the 500 mark tonight, and they're going to need a lot of tape to do it when they play the Toronto Argos. You see Melvin Aldridge getting the new spat job on the ankles. You take your shoes like that, your foot cannot move when it's inside. And that's what you want to do. That's why you spat them up like that. It's called a spat. You tape over the shoe so that your shoe and your foot are one.
You never blow a tire. Taylor. Whoa, Bill Hess, and there's a big collision down there. Covering Courtney Griffin and Donald Smith. Wow. Met right at the receiver.
Courtney Griffin's in for the injured Don Odegaard, and he has Bill Hess lined up, and Bill Hess knows it. He's coming across, and you can see him turn his shoulders as that ball goes through his hands, because he knows Courtney Griffin is coming from his zone on the outside to lay the lumber on him. That was going to be a huge one had Hess stayed straight up and down.
2nd and 10. Taylor with time. James Ellingson had to turn around to try and bring that one home. Couldn't quite squeeze it.
And you know what? That was the case of Steve Taylor trying to take a little too much. If he'd have thrown that ball to James Ellingson initially, James Ellingson may have been able to pick up a good 8 to 10 yards. But right here, Taylor's going to take the ball. Now, he has so much time. He sees Ellingson, but then he wants to look for more. He realizes that that time may be running a little short as the play continues, so he tries to get it to Ellingson. But had he hit him early, he might have picked up the first down.
Wayne Lamley. Jimmy the Jet Cunningham for the Argos waits. Lamley hesitated. And now he rolls it out. There'll be no return for Jimmy the Jet this time. Ottawa hanging in, trailing Toronto by a point at 14-13. Pretty close. It's the all-time record going back to some great Ottawa days in the 60s and 70s, and those were horrible days for the Argos.
Well, you know, you talk about this Ottawa team and then their poor away record. They're on a 17-loss losing streak when they're on the road. But you know who is worse than that in the record books? Toronto, with 18.
Straight losses. That's a few years ago.
That was 92-93. The Argos had their troubles. They turned it around, and maybe Ottawa can do the same.
Glutie underneath from Dwayne Knight. He got away and is almost picked off. Henry almost had his second. Frank West was there. They were both surrounding Jeff Fairholm.
Tommy Henry is just not happy. He's just not happy with his buddy Frank West. Here's Dwayne Knight. He's going to come on the blitz and comes in scot-free. But watch the disappearing act that Doug Glutie pulls. Right here. Here comes Dwayne Knight. Whoa! There goes Doug Glutie to the outside, and then Tommy Henry has a shot at another interception had it not been for his teammate Frank West knocking the ball out.
Argos 2nd and 10. Ball at the 31. Glutie has Mike Clemens. Big first down out at the 50. Swift Birch was back to make the tackle on the pinball that time.
You know, Doug Glutie last year, of course, had the elbow surgery. I asked him before the game how the strength of his arm feels and how his health is. To take a look at Swift Birch, who was in there trying to get pressure on Glutie. But Glutie told me that his arm has never been stronger in his whole career, and that last play, he just gunned it in there about 30 yards. A perfect strike. Yeah, I'd agree with Glutie. His arm looks real strong right now.
Gain is 18, first down Toronto at the Argo 50. 4 receivers to the near side, and Glutie looks in this direction. Again on the run. Williams couldn't bring it home. Nice defensive work on front by Wilhite.
Well, when you want to know how much does Doug Glutie help the Toronto Argos? Well, that tells the story right there. With Doug Glutie in 1996 so far this year, that's average per game rushing, average per game passing, and the points per game. Then you look back in 1995, there's quite a discrepancy, especially in the points category.
Yeah, and in the win column, too. 6-1.
Absolutely.
6 wins in 7 games. 2nd and 10. Glutie. Now flag comes down, and Glutie underthrows his receiver coming back. It was Cunningham, number 86. 3 minutes to the half. We'll check on the infraction when we return. Looks like it's against Toronto.
What the people are saying is they don't want a place just to put their money. They want ideas. They want advice. They want solutions.
Everybody is learning. Can a bank?
He didn't pay.
They never do.
Now Snickers is even more peanuts. Tons of them.
Coming up at the half, we will hear from Hamilton head coach Don Southern. We'll also talk to our panel about this first half and more. That's coming up at the Corral halftime.
Closed captioning of this CFL telecast is brought to you by Subway. Try Subway's great tasting classic Italian BMT.
Halftime is 3 minutes away. Argos penalized on the previous play, so it'll be a kicking situation with the infraction against Toronto. Vanderjack, a nice breeze. Here's Tommy Henry, misjudged it. Now it rolls back, and Vanderjack is charging in. They draw some flags as Drummond makes the tackle. Master is on the sidelines, and he knows how to win. There's no doubt about it. Completion percentage almost 67% for Glutie and the Argonauts. Average net yards per game 477.
And ask an offensive lineman about who he'd like to protect when it comes to quarterbacks. Only given up 8 sacks, and largely because of the scrambling ability of Doug Glutie.
Glutie does protect himself by moving around back there, no doubt. Taylor from the shotgun. Sean Daniels. Markers down, as is Daniels after a gain of a couple. Toronto on top by a point, 14-13, heading toward halftime. Initial indication, penalty against Ottawa. And the Rough Riders really don't want to give the ball back to Toronto here before halftime.
Ottawa number 59, repeat first down.
Or at least for too long. That's James Monroe.
Yeah, he's in there at the left guard position, off the running play. Just grabbed on to the jersey of Andrew Stewart. But you're right, John. I mean, right now, Steve Taylor wants to try and get his team out of a hole and at least regain the field position, not give that ball back to Glutie before the half.
Taylor himself on 1st and 20. Benson made the tackle, number 37. And Taylor gets almost half back.
Ah, it's a good call. A good call, run the quarterback draw. It's something that you know the Argo defense hasn't been scouting or hasn't been thinking about coming into the game, because they thought David Archer was going to start, and you know David Archer is not going to run that play. So it's a pretty good call. Get half of the yardage back on first down and set up 2nd and 10.
Taylor. Bolduc makes, no, he doesn't. Couldn't hang on. Marcelo Simmons was covering. And Andre Bolduc. Bolduc has seen quite a bit of action tonight. He's out of Carleton in his rookie season. Highly rated in college, making a big step tonight.
Yeah, working on Marcelo Simmons. Simmons up in the bump and run technique, does a nice job to get open to the outside. Steve Taylor throws a little bit behind him. It would have been a tough catch, but definitely would have got his team out of a hole, and he had to hang on to that football.
So offside against the Argos. Gives Ottawa one more chance, and now it's 2nd and 5. Into the final 2 minutes of the opening half as Taylor stands in, as Hess has a big first down inside the 45.
I tell you what, John, I am so impressed with Steve Taylor's confidence. I mean, he hasn't played all year. He played half the season in Hamilton, pretty good half the year in Hamilton last year, but watch him throw this ball with authority with 3, well, you count them 4 Toronto Argonaut defenders all over Phil Hess, and he just puts it through the eye of the needle and finds Hess for the completion.
Gain of 21. Taylor Running for his life now and throwing on the run.
Just threw it away. He might get a penalty for it.
He did, or at least there's a marker down right at the 45-yard line, and that would be the intention. There was no receiver anywhere in the area.
No. There is no infraction on the play. There was a receiver in the area. Second down.
I didn't see anybody.
Well, I was going to say, John, that Bill Hess was working about 10 yards deeper than that ball when it hit the turf. So, I mean, there's an argument Steve Taylor had to say that, hey, I was trying to get it. I just threw it 10 yards short of the guy. And if you buy that, I have some land I want to sell you.
Where? Bolduc comes to the near side. 2nd and 10. 3 receivers to Taylor's left. And the play is whistled down.
Well, it looks like it may be against the Argos. Someone may have lined up outside.
Timeout. Toronto.
Okay.
There you go.
I was completely wrong on that.
You weren't that far off.
It looked to me like one of the guys were lined up offside, but hey, I'm like...
One of the guys was waving his hands down there.
Maybe that's what it was. The old timeout sign. Don Matthews wants to settle him down. He definitely doesn't want to give up any points before the half. You don't want to give a team that's down and out a little bit of a spark, a little bit of life, because they can come back and get you and surprise you. John Payne's hoping that happens to his team right now.
David Archer on the sidelines has not seen any activity in this ball game. We had expected him to be the starting quarterback for Ottawa, but Steve Taylor is in and facing 2nd and 10 right now. Low snap. Taylor can't get a hold of it. Now he does. This would be a great play. Gordon hangs on.
What a play.
Taylor made it all happen.
What a play by Steve Taylor.
25 yards. Gordon stuck the mitts up and brought it down.
Yeah, you talk about when you go in the shotgun. A lot of people don't like it because you're looking downfield. The snap's low by Richard Sines. But what a job by Steve Taylor to scoop it up and have the presence of mind to look downfield and find Robert Gordon, who comes up with a great catch and just keeps the concentration to get that 1 foot down in bounds. What a play.
Rough Riders at the Toronto 19. Sean Reed into the ball game, number 32, and has 1 yard. So the Rough Riders are adding a few dimensions here. I don't know if Reed is in because of injury. He began the season in the Winnipeg camp, stopped briefly in Toronto.
Former 2nd round draft pick out of Western Ontario, and primarily a special teams guy. Cover kicks, he'll block and kick returns, and gets his chance to play fullback.
Minute 12 to go till halftime. Taylor looks to the end zone. Bolduc brought it in, but he's out of bounds. Andre Bolduc out of Carlton.
Offside? Yep.
And it was close.
No, he was definitely out of bounds. I mean, if you get pushed out of bounds when you're in the air, it's up to the discretion of the official. But if you jump in the air on your own and then just come down out of bounds, then you're out of bounds.
I wasn't disagreeing with the call. I was just saying it was close for Ottawa, but not close enough.
Close for them, yeah.
Field goal try here. Lamley will have it spotted at the 26. And he's on target. With about a minute to go, at least unofficially on the scoreboard, which is malfunctioning here tonight.
Well, I tell you what, Toronto was offside on the play. I believe it was
offside. Toronto number 12. Decline. Field goal is good.
They'll take the 3.
Yeah, Adrian Smith was offside, but because it was 3rd and 10, it's only a 5-yard penalty. John Payne does not want to take any points off the board, especially against these Argos. So Don Matthews will send out his kickoff return team. You know, when you have Jimmy the Jet Cunningham and Pinball Clemens back there to receive it, you have a chance to score in one play.
16-14. Ottawa leading Toronto, and if I had said that to you before the game that Ottawa would have the lead at halftime, what would you have said to me?
I'd say let's go back over to the roulette table because there's no chance.
Well, there's enough time for Glutie to come and solve that situation with a field goal, or Cunningham to take it into great range for Toronto. The Rough Riders are full value for their lead at this stage of things. They've moved the ball fairly well, and they've taken advantage of the one opportunity on the interception.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, if you take away the 2 interceptions that Ottawa and Steve Taylor has thrown, I mean, they really have dominated this game, and we talked about it before, and many people have. In order to beat a Doug Glutie team, you got to keep him on the sideline. Ottawa's done that pretty well tonight.
Mike Clemens fields it at the 22. Well, the Central Canada exhibition is on right next door, and Mark Bunting is over on the midway.
All right. Guys, I'm at the Fool the Guesser here, and I'm going to have this young lady guess my age, and I want you to keep in mind that I've had a bit of work, and I use lots of moisturizer, okay?
Okay, as long as you promise if I make you too old, you're not going to kick me or nothing, right?
I won't do that, I promise.
Okay, good deal. Now, I got to be within 2. I'm going to write down what I think on this sheet of paper right here.
All right.
Okay, I'm looking at you for a minute. Now, Canadians, I think, look a little bit older than Americans, so let me see one of your hands. Flip it over. Uh-huh, you got a young-looking hand there. Got to write down what I think, and I got to be within 2.
Here we go. The tension's killing me.
I think he's about this many right here. Okay, I've got it written down. It's the only number on the page. How old are you?
I'm 48.
Oh, no.
No, I'm joking. I'm 34. I'm 34.
34, and that's within 2 of...
Okay, she said 36. She got me a little older than I am, but sorry, no prize, guys. I was going to get you a banana, but I can't do it for you. Sorry. Back to you.
You can't fool the guesser, can you? I tell you, there's not much luck on the midway. The odds are not in your favor, folks, just in case you were thinking you were going to come down and get your fortune. Mike Clemens has another catch. Frank West had him wrapped up. 12 yards in the previous play to Mazzati, 8 yards there. And on the clock, at least unofficially, 37 seconds to go till halftime.
And 37 seconds, it's a long time for Doug Glutie to put some more points on the board before this half is over.
Ottawa's called a timeout now. Steve Taylor, a surprise starter.
Hey, just mentioned to David Archer there, what do you think of that one play where we get shotgun, I drop it, pretend like I'm fumbling around, pick it up and throw it to Robert Gordon? That's a pretty good one, huh?
Let's put it in the book.
Yeah. John Payne likes it too. And he was talking right there about breaking containment inside or out. He says he thinks he can break that containment all night. Either step up in the pocket or break it to the outside.
37 seconds till halftime. Argonauts, 2nd and 2. Glutie drills it in and missed his target. So what would you say if I told you before the game that the Ottawa Rough Riders would have the lead at halftime?
Well, you know what? 19-point favorites, and Jeff Cummins is coming in here on the pass list, 97. He's the one who gets up there and just gets this one knocked down. But when you're 19-point underdogs like Ottawa we're coming in, Jeff Cummins knows that takes the pressure pretty much off you. You can just go and execute. And he did the old soccer header there to knock that one down. Nice ball, Beckenbauer. That's the soccer player from way back.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Hands off, Beckenbauer, Cruyff, Hodgkins, they're all here.
Tommy Henry returning for Ottawa, and the Riders will have 23 seconds to work with from deep in Ottawa territory.
Brendan Rodgers started out with the BC Lions, was released, and Toronto and Don Matthews very happy to get him because of his specialty, and that is special teams. See him take off right there and get some good job on the punt coverage team and get in on the tackle.
I recall he had 7 special teams tackles for the Blue Bombers in the game a couple of years ago.
He tied a pretty famous linebacker out there. At least we're making him famous, in K.D. Williams.
You have turned him into a star, no doubt about it. Picked up. It's Smith. Donald Smith this time. Second interception of the game, and the Argos get a shot at a field goal.
Well, I don't know about the decision to try and go down the field. I mean, there's less than 20 seconds left. Robert Gordon's going down the field. He goes out of bounds. Now, because he was pushed out, he's allowed to come back in. The ball was intended for James Ellingson. Donald Smith had the short zone, read the quarterback, and jumped it, but I'm not sure the decision with 20 seconds left to try and throw it down the field is going to be awful tough to get any points, and now you've given Doug Glutie an opportunity to put some of his own on the board.
Opportunity here to add a little bit at least. Definitely close to field goal range, and now they are. Cunningham makes the catch, and he's down to the 26-yard line with 5 seconds to go. So Vanderjack will trot in. And the Argos have an opportunity to have the lead by 1. You see, I told you there was no way Ottawa could win or could lead at halftime.
Well, if you take into consideration the point spread, they're way ahead.
Oh, they're way ahead. In Vegas.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Vegas doesn't count.
Well, I think they can be proud of the way they played. I mean, they're up against a 6-1 team led by one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and they're hanging in there in the half. They made some big plays. They're moving the ball offensively, and other than that error right there, played a pretty good football game.
Vanderjack will have it spotted by Flutie at the 34. He's got it. So the Argonauts grab the lead by a point. It's a one-point ball game. Lots ahead at halftime as we send you back to CFL Control and Darren and his pals.
CFL Live at the Half. Brought to you by Corel, world leader in CD-ROM technology.
Okay, Coach. Have at it. You were a little upset at the end of that half because you did not like the play selection at all for the Ottawa Rough Riders. You thought they should have just downed the ball and killed the clock and went in with the lead.
Absolutely. I mean, I would have bet money, and I don't even bet very often. I might have bet Leafs money, but I would have thought with the 23 seconds to go in the half and a 2-point lead, and they fought so hard to get that lead against a good team, why take any chances and go in with a lead at halftime and come out fired up? Now they lose some momentum by letting Toronto back in the game.
See, you are having fun second-guessing tonight, aren't you?
That's a bad game to be second-guessing. You're right.
Bob, I want to defend Ottawa now. Isn't that a switch? You being a bad guy, and me being a decent guy. But Ottawa played a great half of football, aside from that silly play. And they were doing it without their 3 premier offensive players, Archer, Rogers, and Greer. I think that, you got to take your hat off to those guys. They played a great half of football.
You know what? I think it goes back to the comment I made before the game. If Toronto is going to lose this game, it's just because they're going to beat themselves. And Tommy Henry gets an interception for a touchdown. Doug Glutie is not having a terrific first half. Toronto is beating themselves. Ottawa is playing about as well as they're going to play, but the old intangible still is there. Flutie can come out and have a great second half, and this game can be a walk.
You mentioned the Tommy Henry interception that he returned for a touchdown, and this got your goat as well, too, Coach. You thought that they should have went for the 2 points instead of going for the single in the convert.
Well, there's times in the game, like it was a 5-point difference that made it 12-7, and if you go for 2, it makes it 14-7, and the single point really didn't give Ottawa that big a deal at that time, so you got to pick your spots when you go for 2, and I've always believed as a coach you take your points in the game early when you have them, unless there's a circumstance that might make you think differently.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that, but what about the play of Steve Taylor? He's looked extremely sharp in this football game.
Yes, he has. I think he's done a heck of a job moving the Ottawa offense, and the key thing I think that he's given Ottawa that their offensive lines had trouble in protecting Archer is that Steve's much more mobile. He's getting out on sprint outs and some play action, moving outside the pocket, and that makes it a lot tougher to defend against him, especially when you weren't expecting it.
In reality, Bob, Steve Taylor's out past Doug Glutie. You don't see that very often, but it's one half, and he's played better.
And at the end of the game, it'll be different.
Right. But I want to say something about the Ottawa secondary, and specifically Tommy Henry. Here's a guy who did not even get a chance to play for Don Matthews. As soon as Matthews took over for Bill Obovich, he let Henry go. And now you can imagine how much he's relishing that interception right now. And he will talk about it after the game. He's the kind of guy that likes to talk about it.
You know what? And Tommy Henry could have had another pick, too, as Frank West hit him. Henry with 5 interceptions on the season now.
I'll tell you about Tommy Henry, though. He is not exactly a guy that gets involved in a team concept. He marches to his own beat a lot of times, and there's some coaches that won't put up with it, and obviously Don Matthews was one. Another thing about Doug Glutie tonight that I'm surprised. I did the Edmonton-Toronto game a week ago. Glutie struggled when he was going to straight drop back, straight in the pocket, and because of his height, sometimes he has difficulty seeing over those defensive linemen. And again tonight, I'm really surprised that he hasn't gone more to the rollout. Straight drop back has not been successful for him this year, and yet they still stick with it.
Well, we'll see if Toronto alters their game plan. I'm sure they will in the second half. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll change our game plan as well. We'll start talking about tomorrow night's big matchup as the Hamilton Ticats are home to the Stamps. Stay tuned. You're watching the CFL Live on TSN.
CFL Legends brought to you by Corel. He's often considered Canada's best ever athlete. More on Lionel Conacher in a moment.
If you want full Office Suite power at a word processor price, look no further than Corel WordPerfect Suite. Corel WordPerfect Suite includes an exceptionally intelligent word processor, an award-winning spreadsheet, amazing presentation graphics, plus business graphics and utilities, hundreds of fonts and thousands of clip art images. Corel WordPerfect Suite delivers Office Suite power at a word processor price.
Acclaimed as Canada's greatest all-around athlete of the first half-century, Lionel Big Train Conacher played professionally in 5 different sports. Conacher played on 2 Stanley Cup winning teams and scored 15 points for the Argos in the Grey Cup victory over the Eskimos in 1921. You can see more on Lyle Conacher and other CFL legends at the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in Hamilton.
Toronto Argonauts lead by a single point. I tell you, who would have thunk it at the half? Ottawa Rough Riders very much in this football game. Don Southern, in his 33 years of coaching, says he's never seen so many injuries in his entire football experience, but his Hamilton Tiger Cats are ranked with them. Tomorrow night, Jeff Garcia will try and take advantage of a beat-up Ticat team. We'll have the game for you. It starts at 7 o'clock Eastern Time with our pregame show, the full half hour, followed by the kickoff itself. Art Ward Miller got a chance to talk to Sudsy.
They're in difficult days for the Hamilton Ticats. Don, I think most of the concern here in Hamilton centers on Matt Dunnigan. How concerned are you about his status?
Well, Gord, I am concerned the fact that it's taken so long, you know, but anytime you ever get hit in the head in a football game or whatever, you like to have guys recover in 3 or 4 days, but this is taking longer, and the doctors say that he will be fine once this pressure, you know, that he has some headaches now, but once they leave him, I guess he's going to be okay. And I will not do anything in regard to playing him until the doctors give us 100% okay to go.
So for this week, your starting quarterback is Larry Justanis. He's having to deal with the fact that he's a Canadian. There's a lot of pressure on him that way. How difficult is this challenge for him?
Well, you know what? He was rushed into it in Montreal, and maybe sometimes they don't have a chance to think about it. But knowing Larry and knowing his demeanor, he wants this chance. He's in his own backyard. He's thrilled to death to have it. And one thing I said earlier, the veterans are jumping around him and helping him out. Matt Dunnigan will be down on the sideline helping him, along with Mike Kerrigan and AC up in the box. So I think he's got all the help he needs, and he'll do a good job, I'm sure.
Don, the good news is at least you're not playing anyone tough this week.
Oh, boy. Calgary's, they're great offensively, defensively, special teams. It's going to be a challenging game for us, but I know one thing, that games are won on determination. If you have the ability, the determination to go out and hit somebody and take it to them, and that's exactly what we're going to try to do.
Don, thanks very much. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Don Southern, the head coach of the Ticats, who play Calgary tomorrow night. Darren?
Boy, Don Southern left that interview quicker than a Hamilton Tiger Cat offensive coordinator. They've been dropping left and right. Well, we had it with Dieter Brock last year, and he resigned from his position. And then you bring in John Jenkins, and Jenkins is no more.
Yeah, and Jenkins came in at the beginning of the season with all kinds of fanfare. He was supposed to rescue this offense, and Sudsy talked about him like he was the greatest coach in the world, and he got rid of him. That's 5 different offensive coaches in 2.5 seasons in Hamilton. And a lot of the coaches around the league are taking Sudsy to task about this because they're saying that, there's got to be some stability. Yeah, you can't control what goes on with the injuries, but you can control what happens with your coaching staff.
Well, the issue becomes Don Southern fired Dieter Brock, and we've talked about this on the show before, but he fired Dieter Brock a year ago because he didn't have a balanced offense, refused to run the football, and yet he goes and hires John Jenkins, who absolutely hates to run the football. To him, it's a wasted play, so I fault the head coach in this situation. He put himself back in the same old kettle of fish that he had a year ago.
I throw this out to you, Leaf, though. Was it part of a package? Because John Jenkins was with Matt Dunnigan down in the States now, and you've got a couple of Dunnigan receivers that played with him last year as well.
I think Leaf hit it right on the head. I think the head coach, knowing what he knew from last year and knowing what he wanted from an offensive standpoint, to bring in another offensive coordinator that had the same philosophy as Dieter, that's put Sudsy in the hot seat.
And here becomes the problem, Bob, because now Mike Kerrigan, who I had a nice chat with this afternoon, wants to run the football. He and Terry Greer and John Salavandis are going to be co-offensive coordinators. They all clearly know they need to have a more balanced attack, but what the problem is, they do not have the personnel. So in midstream, you need a big fullback. There's no fullback. I said, would you like to have Lee Knight back? And they went,
sure.
So they don't have the right people now.
Well, let me let you guys in on a little secret, Darren. Actually, Matt Dunnigan was never a fan of John Jenkins, even last season, and he was quite supportive of the move. In fact, he encouraged it. He felt he was being not protected enough, and he was very supportive of that move.
And for once in my life, I hate to do this, but I'm going to agree with Marty because Matt and I had talked about that. He was not enthralled with John Jenkins' system last year. He's a team guy. He went along with it, but he didn't like it because he paid the price far too many times by taking hits, and now you see what's happened.
Okay, gentlemen.
God, it kills me to agree with Marty.
That hurts. I'm kind of surprised.
You have no choice, Lee.
We will take a short break here, ladies and gentlemen. There's still more to come on the Corral Halftime Show when we return.
If you want full office